I will beat Asashoryu and make Yokozuna, was what Hakuho vowed at just 19 years of age, and within 3 years he would have his chance. The momentum had been building the entire time. A second win against Asashoryu by armlock throw in January 2006, a third by pulling outer arm throw in March, a fourth by crushdown in July, and a first top division title in between. There was also significant character building underway as he laid the final stone in the construction of a champion's mentality. Hakuho cites, in both of his books, the playoff defeat in March 2006 as the moment upon which his entire career turned. Having beaten Asashoryu in the regulation match, he supposedly had the wind in his sails, but, as he recalls, an even tachiai saw us grip each other's belts in the center of the ring. I was going for the outside left. He was loath to let me have it. I was thus forced to reel him in with the right and stretch my left over the top, then go forward. But it seemed Asashoryu was waiting for that precise forward movement. He hit me with a right underarm throw which sent me spinning off the dohyo. For the first time in my life, I would shed genuine tears of regret. In his first book, he explains how he gazed at the Emperor's cup through those tear-stained eyes and said, "Next time, you're coming with me." He was true to his word, taking advantage of Asashoryu's injury withdrawal to defeat Miyabiyama in the playoff of May 2006. A silent admirer of Hakuho's talent, Asashoryu was disappointed to see him denied Yokozuna promotion in mid-2006, and concerned about the possible hangover effects. After watching Hakuho drop the first bout of his next Yokozuna challenge the following September, he called him over in the bathroom for a pep talk. "Don't be too eager! There's no rush!" he barked, and Hakuho grasped the deeper meaning. As the sole Yokozuna tasked with leading professional sumo, he was keen for the next generation to grow up quickly, he says, and he put that into words for me there and then. The opponent he lost to that day was Kiseno Sato. We'll explore how Asashoryu's words were used to deal with him in a future post. For now, let it be known that when Hakuho fractured his left big toe some weeks later, he opted not to rush back, to sit out a full tournament for the first time, and to regroup the following spring. The head-to-head was improving, but when Hakuho resumed his Yokozuna push in March 2007, the title count was still 1-20 in Asashoryu's favor. Asashoryu again outfoxed him with a pull-down in their regulation match in Osaka, but come the final day playoff, Hakuho used the Yokozuna's book of tricks against him. Having seen his senior cheaply slap down Chiyo Taikai at the Tachiai just minutes before, Hakuho, in his words, placed both hands on the back of Asashoryu's head and slapped forward while moving to the left. His left hand promptly touched down, and the title was mine by Hataki Komi. Blown away by the mirror image of his own audacity, Asashoryu scrunched his face into a bitter smile. The March title was Hakuho's, creating the prospect of a certain Yokozuna promotion with a follow-up triumph in May. Sadly for the neutral, a dip in Asashoryu's form meant that Hakuho sealed the title before their final day showdown. Happily though, his fighting spirit meant it was still an epic. With Asashoryu, it was always a battle for the inside grip, my chances depending on the extent to which I could develop my favored stance, Hakuho writes. That day, an exchange of pushes and thrusts ended with Asashoryu getting a light inside left on me. Unperturbed, I reversed that with an inside right and swiftly moved my right hip into him, pulling the belt with everything I had and using his reaction against him to break his left outside grip. Now was my chance. Without a moment's pause, I unleashed a pulling throw, and Asashoryu collapsed and fell before my eyes. That made it a perfect 15-0, a most emphatic statement of Yokozuna credentials. Asashoryu's lone spell at the top, yielding an amazing 16 titles from 21, was over. He would now face the added pressure of being senior Yokozuna, somehow needing to assert authority over a man with far greater physical attributes. But, as Hakuho reminds us, the Blue Dragon was not to be written off. Asashoryu's spirit was amazing, he says. The pain of defeat to me in May only made him more combative. And when we met again 2 months later, he beat me all too easily. My back extended awkwardly in the face of awesome power backed up by fierce spirit. I was forced out in a flash. He wanted me to get to Yokozuna quickly, but resolved to make sure that once I was there, I wouldn't be having things my own way. I may have reached the top of the rankings chart, but still he stood before me. This huge wall I somehow had to get past.